ni hao, konnichiwa, shalom, ciao, bonjour, namaste, jumbo.
Bienvenidos, my friends. My name is Jedley. This is Reading with Your Kids. We're beaming out to you in the entire universe from the beautiful, historical, book-loving neighborhood of Reedville, the loveliest neighborhood in all of Boston. Our mission here at Reading with Your Kids is to help all families grow closer through reading. It's all about connection. Connecting kids with books, families with each other, communities through the power of story. In every episode, we are joined by incredible authors and creators whose work is lighting up kids' lives. Please help us grow our mission by telling all of your family and friends about the show and letting them know that they can hear us on the WREB AM/FM 24/7 radio network. And they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podcast Addict, YouTube, Audible, Amazon Music, CastBox, Player FM. Wherever you find your favorite shows, you can find Reading with Your Kids. Really incredible show for you today. First up, someone who helped me connect with my daughter when she was a young one, Angela Santomero, is here. She is the creator of Blue's Clues. She is here to celebrate her new project, Princess Penelope's Purse of Preposterous Things. And later in the show, David Gillespie will be here to celebrate Flu Flocky Doo to the rescue. This episode of Reading with Your Kids is brought to you by Fart Boy and Reeky Dog, Dino Doom. Fantastic new graphic novel written by New York Times bestselling author Joan Holub, who's written over 200 amazing books for kids. It's school sleepover at the museum. What could go wrong? Well, how about this? A snack-fueled explosion of garbanzo beans and peanuts unleashes a stink so powerful it brings the dinosaurs back to life. Now, Fart Boy, Reeky Dog, and their friends are in the middle of a dino-sized disaster. They have to solve tricky riddles, find missing bones, and stop the stinkiest villain of all, Professor Gravy Pants. Because if they don't, the dinosaurs could take over. Or worse, they could become Dino Dinner. This action-packed graphic novel is bursting with friendships, adventure, and enough laughs to shake the museum walls. If your kids love superheroes, if they love dinosaurs, and if they love to laugh until they can't breathe, then Fart Boy and Reeky Dog Dino Doom is the book for you. Because sometimes the power to save the world comes from the unlikeliest place. Grab your copy today and get ready for a reading adventure that's truly dynamite. Hey, my friends, have you heard the news? The Reading with Your Kids podcast recently named Toby Baxter and the Revenge of the River Home Rutabagas a Reading with Your Kids certified great read. That means we didn't just hand out an award and move on. We featured the book on the podcast. We posted our review on our website. We shared our review on Amazon, Goodreads, Barnes & Noble, and Books A Million. We created a video announcement and shared it with our community of more than 120,000 followers across Facebook, Instagram, X, and LinkedIn. Most importantly, we helped connect a great book with families who love to read together. If you've written a children's book that deserves to be celebrated, we'd love to do the same for you. Visit readingwithyourkids.com and click on the Authors Click Here button up at the top of the page to learn more about the Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program. That's readingwithyourkids.com, because great books deserve to be discovered. Join us right now from New York City. Our guest is here today to celebrate her new series. It's called Princess Penelope's Purse of Preposterous Things. Please welcome to the show, Angela Santomero. Angela, how are you?
I'm so good. Thanks for having me.
I'm delighted to have you on. Before we go any further, I have to thank you because you are responsible for hours and hours of absolute love that I experienced with my now adult daughter. Because it was appointment TV every morning at a certain time when I dropped my son off for kindergarten. we would come home and we would sit down and cuddle up and watch Blue's Clues together. And you were one of the creators of that amazing series.
Yes, thank you. That's awesome. I bet she's really smart right now.
She, as we say here in Boston, she is wicked smart. Yeah,
I bet.
Very smart, very successful, and most importantly, a very kind and caring person.
I agree. That is most important.
Yeah. So, Princess Penelope, one of the things I was thinking about, Penelope is such a great character name, but I don't think I've met a person named Penelope in like 50 or 60 years.
Yeah, no, I know. It was just one of those alliteration things that I just fell in love with the name and playing with, all the stuff. So yeah, I've met a Penelope a long time ago, but other than that.
Yeah.
So Bridgerton, Penelope.
So let's talk about Princess Penelope. This is a adorable, kind-hearted kitty.
She is. She is one of those kittens who doesn't realize how small she is. And all she does is stick up for her friends and figure out how she can make things right, make things fair. And so Mother Nature has seen her do this and has bestowed upon her. She transforms into the princess kitten of kindness with this magical purple purse filled with preposterous things. And they help her solve problems. But of course, because the things are so preposterous, we have to be creative and utilize our critical and creative thinking skills, which is the series engine, which is what I want kids to learn and master at this age, which I think is so important right now. In addition to being kind, and in addition to, realizing that no problem cannot be solved. You can solve any problem at any time.
I don't want to go back to my daughter again, but I promise it won't be an interview about her. But when you said that Princess Penelope is this kitten that doesn't realize how small she is, it instantly flashed a memory in my mind. When she finally got to kindergarten, there was a kid who was 2 or 3 grades ahead of her, and he thought it was really fun to run around and scare all the kindergarten girls. And so he would do it. And I had lunch duty one day, and I'm watching this interaction, and he goes near my daughter, and she just stands up and she says, "Don't you even think about it, Marty." And this is kids towering over her, and she's just wagging the finger, and he turned around and walked away.
Oh my God, I love that so much. That's awesome. I mean, that is our first story with Princess Penelope, except Dragon still comes back and is breathing his fire everywhere. And then the lesson, what I turned it into was the fact that she doesn't want to change him, right? She wants to use his fire for good. So what can we do to help him do that? And that's where pink marshmallows is one of the things in our purse, and we use them to toast the marshmallows instead of burning down the castle. So, that whole idea of, you got a kid who's running around, you got to throw him in the water and turn him into Michael Spitz,
Well, that's one of the things that I loved about Blue's Clues, and I checked out a quick video of Princess Penelope. It's really getting kids to think, and it's what we talk about here on Reading with Your Kids. It's that pausing and turning to your kid and saying, what do you think is going to happen next? What should happen next? What do you think about what Princess Penelope just did? What do you think about what the dragon did?
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of every episode, my episodes on YouTube, I also, obviously the books just came out. I also have episodes on YouTube because that's where kids are. And I wanted to bring the education and preschool curriculum, the very best curriculum, onto YouTube. And basically, the idea that they can use that interactivity to think about what's going to happen next. Every episode is 3 minutes long-ish. But the stories are longer. So at the end of an episode, and I read them, and then we go into the animation, of course. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what do you think is going to happen? When you're done with the chapter, that's what we ask our kids, right? In terms of these books and what we're thinking about. And so that they can keep thinking, interacting, getting to that next level in their own thoughts versus just watching the story unfold.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, I love the fact that you're interacting and you're asking the kids the questions and asking them to think. But I really want to encourage parents, sit down, do what I did, and sit down and watch Princess Penelope with your kids. You know, Steve was great getting my daughter thinking, but he would get us both thinking and starting conversation. And I think that's something that you could really do with your videos if parents and kids are sitting down experiencing this together.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love it when there's co-viewing, whether it's with a grown-up or with an older sister, brother, cousin. But I also know that life is hard, right? And there's so much going on. So I wanted to make sure that this was a show that they could watch on their own and hopefully bring back to their parents and caregivers as well to talk about it. But yes, I mean, there's a study on reading to your kids in the way that I model on the show, Whitehurst study back in the day. And basically when you employ those methods, the kids are that much smarter for it, right? That level of thinking, that level of just small questions as they're reading really can make a big difference. And so modeling it for parents is definitely something that I do.
I love that because I think you're right. We are really busy these days. Parents are going 18 different directions and all this, and they're distracted by their devices and their screens. And they may not have had somebody that sat down and watched Blue's Clues with them or sat down and read with them. So this is great that you're modeling and showing parents, hey, this is how it's done.
Well, I call it cuddle TV because there's nothing like that, you know, when you can just like take a few minutes to sit and cuddle and ask questions and watch something or read something or play a board game or whatever, you know, like having even 15 minutes, you know, there's this really interesting fact was that 15 minutes of reading, like any non-academic, like reading for pleasure, 15 minutes is 1 million new words a year. And so it's that kind of thing, like just taking 15 minutes if you can. Cuddle TV is my, you know, cuddle whatever is my favorite thing.
Yeah, I love it. I don't think I read a book. You know, we talk about parents and kids being side by side on a couch. I don't think I ever read a book side by side. It was always the kids were between me and the book.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best way.
Yeah. Tell me, how did this kind of, I don't know if it's an instinct, but, you know, you're creating these shows that are just so wonderful. And so I can't imagine that it was an accident. You just woke up one morning and go, I'm going to create a series about a blue dog and Steve, and, and it's going to make kids smart.
Yeah, no, I have a child development background. I come from a family of teachers. I was 14 when my little brother was born, so I watched him interact with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and I was like, okay, if they can get kids to kick, I can get kids to think back to the TV. And so I studied, and you know, you read everything and study everything and understand there's a lot of research on Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and the positive effects of educational media. So how can we do that? How could I move the needle? And then of course there's a team of people when you're making a show, that really help you to bring it to life. And even on Princess Penelope, I have original Blue's Clues animators helping me to animate and bring it to life. So, you know, it's one of those things where that level of thinking and brainstorm and have a foundation and curriculum really can go so far. And I enjoy it. I love it so much. And I love when I hear from parents like you to say that they did watch it. They did watch the shows that I've made with their kids. And, you know, the effects of that later on is really, that's amazing. We have longitudinal studies. Daniel Tiger's study now says that kids who are teenagers are using the strategies that they learned when they were preschoolers as these older teenagers. It's just so rewarding, I have to say.
Yeah. I really think, and I've been saying this for a long time, you know, it seems like our society is becoming divided, and, you know, people talk about class and race and all this. I think the biggest divider is going to be kids who grew up with parents who read to them and are reading to them and experiencing media and talking to their kids, and the kids who don't. And I think the kids who have those involved parents are going to have so many more advantages.
You know, I think it's having a mentor. I don't even doesn't even matter who it is. Having one person who believes in them makes a huge difference. I see that over and over and over again. And that's really beautiful, right? To know that something that you can say to a child can really change their life, you know? And I think it's so important for us to remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me, where did the idea for Princess Penelope, this character, what inspired it? Did you sit down and say, "Now I wrote a series about a dog and a tiger, and now I got to do a cat"?
Well, actually, Blue was originally supposed to be a cat, and so I have the original kitten cutout that Tracy made in a frame in my house. And I was always like, you know, she never got a show, you know, like we weren't able to do it. There was another show in development with a kitten. So Blue's Clues, we were like, oh, we don't have a show. And then Tracy's like, well, I used to draw this puppy. And we're like, there she is. That's Blue. So, you know, it's been almost 30 years now. And I'm like, I think she deserves a show. So the idea of doing Blue's Clues in reverse, like you were looking for 3 things for Blue's Clues and putting them together. And that was a higher order skill. And you played, of course, playing to figure it out and find the clues before Steve did. But now what happens if you have the 3 things? Like, what do we do with them and how do they solve problems? What happens if there's something that's not that it's wrong, but it doesn't have what you wanted to happen at the end? Like, cause there's no wrong answers in this creative thinking. So we do resilience. It's silly, it's playful. And I just started to have fun with the kinds of things that could be in this purse and all the characters that she would meet and all of the worlds I created are based on all of this 30 years of knowing what preschoolers love and embrace, in addition to what I know how to educate them through play.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I'm really happy that Blue was a dog because that was my daughter's favorite thing. And we would walk around the neighborhood every night. We'd take a walk and she knew all the dogs in the neighborhood and would stop and visit with each one of the dogs. And when she turned 4, she got a dog for her birthday and it was a great companion to her and to the family for so many years. It was wonderful. So I don't know if she would have had the same connection with the cat. I don't know, but I know.
Well, there you go. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. If my daughter was around now, we'd definitely sit down and watch Princess Penelope. Now, now it's also a series of books. So tell me, how are the books different than the YouTube series?
Well, you know, the books, everything that we work on everything that I work on, it's very specific to the medium. So I know that kids hopefully are being cuddled and watch and look. And so the stories have a little bit more depth to them in the books, right? There's like a little bit more nuance, a little bit more about the character in a specific way. That you would expect in a preschool storybook. For the series, we go into a little bit of a gameplay. There's that interactivity piece of it. You're thinking about what's going to happen next, and we use animation to show you the characters coming to life. So it's a really fun, it's a really lovely compliment. I always want a publishing program, and this is my first original publishing program, whereas I wrote a lot of the books about Blue's Clues and Daniel Tiger, but the show had been on forever. This is something where they happened simultaneously. So the first 2 books, the first book is based on the first episode, and then the second book is not the second episode, but it is an episode.
Okay, cool. Do you have a preference for which medium you like creating for?
That's a great question. One of the things when we did Blue's Clues at Radio City Music Hall and the kids were in the audience with their own little handy dandy notebook that we gave out and interacting in real time so we could hear them screaming that Mars was the red one when we did the planet song, but then also being quiet when they needed to listen, right? And that was so rewarding. I was like a groupie. I probably went to as many shows as I could. I went to all the shows. I do like the visual medium of animation as well, because there's so much we could do in terms of thinking through those thoughts. Like having thoughts above Steve's head was really important. Like you can't see your thoughts. How can you do that in animation? But also I'm a big reader. I was a huge reader as a kid. So, each one has its own little special place for me, I think.
Yeah. You know, you're right. I made my full-time job for 35 years was doing educational magic shows. And you're right. There is nothing to compare to the sound of an audience responding to whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're telling a story, and that's what magic is. Mainly, it's 90% story and 10% or 5% tricks and surprises. But when you can get those kids in there and they're with you, it's just the best.
I agree. I so agree.
Yeah. So tell me, one of the things, and I keep saying that I'm just this dopey guy that did magic for 35 years and, I raised a couple of kids. I'm not an expert at everything, but I tell parents, when you're sitting down and you're reading with your kids and you're asking them questions and you're saying to them, what do you think about this? What do you think is going to happen next? You're the most important person in that kid's life, and you're asking them questions and you're telling that kid that I'm interested in what you're thinking about. I think that's like really empowering, but you're the expert. You can tell me whether or not I'm right.
I mean, there is nobody like your parent, right? Like everything you do and everything you say, right, is they're clocking it, they're seeing it, they're learning it. It's like it's not really it's like a funnel in the sense that a sieve, like the things that you do most often are the things that are going to stay with them. So you're right, like paying attention to them, caring, being part of their conversation, of their thinking is definitely going to formulate their thoughts as they get older. And it's fascinating to see, right? I have adult 22 and 25-year-old daughters, and watching them be their own people is so satisfying, right? And having really strong opinions about things and conversations that we have. And so, yeah, I think we forget that we're so important. I think we forget that their eyes are on us all the time. Even as they get older and they pretend that they're not and they're not listening, they are, and they're witnessing. So yeah, I think that it can be a pressure, but it's also a really wonderful positive to know that you're really important.
Yeah, yeah. I think part of it is that there's so many shows out there for kids where the adults, especially the dads, are dopes. And it's just that was one I never banned anything in terms of media with the kids, but I definitely discouraged the kids watching that stuff.
I agree. I don't know why. I don't know why that was so important back in the day. I think that was more of a 90s thing, to make sure that kids saw how important they were. But I don't think you need to do it at the expense of parents. And I don't think that it feels real, in terms of that. I mean, you'll have disagreements, of course, but it's not authentic, right? You want to model the positive reaction. I think I agree with you.
Yeah. Tell me, this is going to sound really silly, but I know one of the controversies around Blue's Clues was Steve grew up and he went to college. Actually, I guess he went to Law and Order and played a bad guy. Oh, what's going on? Is that why you decided to be the face on Princess Penelope? Like, well, I'm not going to go to Law and Order.
Well, I used to tease Steve that after he left or decided to go, he had a music career after Blue's Clues, which, he gave us 7 years. So, but I was like, all my main characters were animated after you because I was heartbroken. But no, for me, it is the idea that I can talk to the child development of it all. I can talk to the playing to learn of it all. I can talk to parents, and it's way easier when they see me. Like, people who know my shows will follow and they'll know them, but it's harder when you don't have that visibility. So the idea that I could market, I could talk about the show, and in a world right now where there are 20,000 videos a day going up on YouTube, I need to be able to continuously talk about it to market the show so that people know why I made it, what goes into it, how do you spot high quality media, all of those things. And so it just made it easier for me. And I'm not acting, I'm reading, I'm not trying to do what Steve, Josh, or Donovan did, because they were experts, I have to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just want to point out to the folks who aren't watching us, behind Angela, she has And very prominently, Daniel Tiger is there, Blue's there, the books, kids' books, and then almost hidden are a couple of Emmy Awards. And so it's obvious that she puts the characters and her family ahead of those awards.
Yeah, I mean, it took us a long time. We didn't win our first Blue's Clues award for 28 years, I think. Just relatively recently we won. I mean, we were nominated all the time, and it was a win just to be nominated against. The first year we were nominated, it was Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and Blue's Clues. And I was like, all right, I won. Like, this is amazing. And then we won for Daniel Tiger as well. So it does feel nice, you know, when you can win, but it's, you know, again, it's more about, I would much rather be winning with the kids, let's say.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So what's the ultimate plan for Princess Penelope's Purse of Preposterous Things? Do you have we're going to do 5 seasons, 6 seasons? Is there a long-term plan?
Oh yeah, always, right? Always a long-term plan to be everywhere kids are. This is a love project, so it's just me right now. So the idea to get as many people to know about it, like it, subscribe to it, you know, all of those things is really, really important. But yes, I would love, you know, to keep going the way that I've been able to do it for Super Y or Blue's Clues or Daniel Tiger. Those 3 shows, I've done more than 3, but those are the shows I dove in like head first and lived it. And those are the ones that are still around today, 30 years later. So that's what I did with Penelope. I just felt so strongly about this critical thinking, creative problem solving that we're going to need, because I don't know what preschoolers are going to need to know when they get to be adults, but I know they'll need to think critically. And so I dove in, and I love it. I love when I'm able to write and research everything and see how kids are reacting and edit and just keep making it better. So, yeah.
You know, you mentioned the critical thinking. Everybody's worried about AI and what's going to happen next. I'll tell you one thing, whatever happens, the kids who can think critically, who are going to be able to tell the deep fakes and when ChatGPT is hallucinating, those are the kids that are going to thrive in the age of AI. So what a great tool for a parent to be able to sit down and experience Princess Penelope's Purse of Preposterous Things together with their kids. Please, Angela, tell everybody where they can go to find out more about you, find out more about Princess Penelope, and get the books.
So yes, thank you. So on YouTube, we are Princess Penelope Official. So definitely go and see our show for the books. They are everywhere books are, Amazon, Target, Walmart, everywhere books are. There are 2 books out now. 2 more books come out in November. So I'm very excited about that. And you can follow me on social at Angela's Clues everywhere.
We've had a really great, and by the way, you have an open invitation. Anytime you have a couple books coming out, let us know. You're welcome back anytime. We've had a great time speaking to the creator and author of Princess Penelope's Purse of Preposterous Things. Our guest has been Angela Santomero. Hey, Angela, thanks so much for being here, and thanks for all the hours of love that I experienced watching your programs.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Hey, my friends, if you are like so many people I know, one of the favorite parts of your morning is that first quiet cup of coffee before the day gets rolling. And recently, I discovered a company I think a whole lot of our Reading with Your Kids family, you're just going to love it. It's called Afuera Coffee Company. What really caught my attention is that Afuera works directly with local farmers in Central and South America, especially in El Salvador, a nation I adore. And all their beans come from certified Rainforest Alliance farms. So you're not just getting incredible coffee, you're supporting ethical farming and environmental conservation too. And friends, this is not ordinary supermarket coffee. These are specialty, hand-selected beans grown in rich volcanic soil, and you can taste the difference. Smooth, rich, aromatic. Whether you love a bold espresso or a lighter roast, they really do have something for every coffee lover. Another thing I love, their packaging is compostable or recyclable, and 5% of every sale goes to charities that help preserve the great outdoors. because they're sponsoring Reading with Your Kids, I arranged an exclusive 15% discount for our listeners. Just head on over to afueracoffee.com and use the promo code READ at checkout. And yes, when you use that code, you're also helping support the podcast. So great coffee, helping farmers, helping the planet, and helping Reading with Your Kids. That's a pretty magical combination right there. Hey, this episode of Reading with Your Kids is brought to you by AspireDrinks.com. Hey, I have a quick question for you. Have you ever wanted a little extra energy, but not the kind that makes your heart race or leaves you crashing an hour later? Well, that's exactly why I want to tell you about Aspire Drinks. You'll find them at AspireDrinks.com. Aspire calls itself a healthy energy drink, and honestly, that description really fits. Instead of loading you up with sugar or extreme caffeine, Aspire delivers a gentle, steady boost with 80 milligrams of natural caffeine from green tea and guarana. That's about half the caffeine of most energy drinks, enough to help you stay focused without the jitters or the crash. It's also zero sugar, 0 calories, and 0 artificial additives, which makes it a great choice for parents, teachers, and anyone trying to make healthier choices while still getting things done. And get this, it actually tastes great, light, crisp, and lightly sparkling, with flavors like sweet cherry, raspberry acai, mango lemonade. That's what I love. No heavy aftertaste and easy on the stomach. Aspire is packed with B and C vitamins, biotin, and ginger. And it's vegan, gluten-free, keto-friendly, really designed for real life. And just for Reading with Your Kids listeners, you can get an exclusive discount of 20% off. That's the highest discount available when you shop at AspireDrinks.com and use our promo code READ. That's READ at AspireDrinks.com. Healthy energy done right. Join us right now from the great state of Florida. Our guest is here today to celebrate. His new picture book is called Flew Flocky Doo to the Rescue. Please welcome to the show, David Gillespie. David, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Jed. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Delighted to have you on. Tell us about Flew Flocky Doo. What a cool name.
Yeah, so it's a young character, female character, in the book, maybe 8, 9, 10 years old, I suppose. And the character was, first of all, I don't have hardly a creative bone in my body. And so I did not come up with the name or the character of Flew Flocky Doo. Believe it or not, it was the inspiration and the imagination of our youngest daughter, Hunter. We have 2 daughters, Sarah and Hunter, and this was back when she was 4 years old, 26 years ago. I mean, Sarah and Hunter are both married and moms of their own. They have 2 kids of their own, and we got 4 beautiful grandkids. And so it was Hunter when she was 4 years old at the time, and she was doing what a lot of young ladies do at that age, is they help their mom, in the kitchen, making dinner or whatever. And I remember it like it was yesterday. Hunter came over and put a plate of food in front of me, and she said, "Miss Flew Flocky Doo is here to serve you." And my wife and I, with our kids being young at the time, we were really immersed in the world of picture books, and we thought we knew all of the characters of, in picture books at the time. And I looked at her and I said, "Where did you see or read or hear about Flew Flocky Doo?" She goes, "I just made her up." And I tell you what, Jed, I looked at my wife and I said, that could be the lead character in a children's picture book. And so the idea sparked then, 26 years. And so procrastination got a huge vote through the years. And it was last summer of 2025 when my wife, beautiful wife, Marcia, she looked at me and she says, "David, we've got 4 grandkids between the ages of 1 and 5. If you want them to read this book you've been talking about doing on this character, you better do it." And so that's all the motivation I needed. I said, "Yes, ma'am." Like a lot of husbands who've been, married for a lot of years, and we're working on 40. And so I put a big push on last year for 6 months and got this thing published, and we could not be more pleased with how it turned out, and the reception that it has received from teachers and children and other parents alike has just been remarkable. So
that's wonderful. But Boy, I know I've put things off in my life, but I don't think I've put off an idea that I was thinking about for 26 years.
Well, I was in, I'm a retired military vet, and so we still had a long way to go in the military career, and so we were bouncing around the world, 12 or 13 moves in 20 some odd years. And so that was a big part of it. Retired from the Air Force and then started another career. And again, just life got busy, and that's all I needed was that little inspiration from my wife, or motivation last year, I should say. And I'm really tickled that we got it done.
Well, I'm very happy. Thank you for your service. I guess I can give you a pass. You were busy.
I was. That's right.
So tell us about Flu Flocky Doo. Who is this character?
So anyway, and first of all, the story has just got so many wonderful family touch points, Jed. So Flu Flocky Doo, again, is this female character who just has a zest for life. She has an adventurous spirit. And so we just wanted to kind of go after that. We did not, in this particular book, we did not want to tackle any, I'll say, social theme of the moment. There's a lot of great books that do that. We just wanted a book that was going to be fun and fun to be read and fun to read. And I want to talk about that a little bit later as well. But we thought we need to give Flu Flocky Doo a sidekick. And so we created this hummingbird. As her kind of like a Batman and Robin scenario. So we gave her a hummingbird, and they communicate, so to speak, through mannerisms, and we named the hummingbird Peanut. We named that after our oldest daughter, Sarah, who was a gymnast growing up. She was very petite then, very petite today, and when she was young, we called her Peanut. And so we gave the hummingbird the name Peanut because big sister Sarah always kind of provided overwatch of little sister Hunter, and so that's what we've done with the hummingbird in this case. And so the storyline, the first half of the book is Peanut comes in and Flu Flocky Doo says, "Hey, what's your clue?" And so Peanut and Flu Flocky Doo chases after the bird, and they discover a baby squirrel. Well, that actually happened in our family. Baby squirrel out of a nest. We saved it and we raised this baby squirrel. And that's the first half of the book. She does that. Within the second half of the book is Mom says, "Hey, let's go to the grocery store." Well, Flu Flocky Doo doesn't want to leave the squirrel home alone. So she smuggles the squirrel to the grocery store in her hoodie. Guess what? That actually happened in my youth, not one of my finer moments as a young man, but I smuggled a squirrel to the grocery store. And in the book, we have the squirrel get loose and cause chaos. Well, that happened. That squirrel I smuggled, it got loose in the grocery store for about 4 days until I was able to recapture it, believe it or not, and go on and release it. Well, in the book, we had this squirrel jump out of Flu Flocky Doo's hoodie and into the hair of an elderly character. And we named the elderly character Miss Nellie Faye, and that is in honor of my mother, who's long deceased, but her name was Nellie Faye. So we named the elderly character named Nellie Faye, and my mom always wore wigs. And so we had the squirrel run off with Nellie Faye's wig. And of course, then chaos ensues in the grocery store, and it's all about trying to recover the squirrel, which Flu does obviously at the very end. So it was just a fun story throughout this book. Flu Flocky Doo says, "What should I do? Hooty hoo, I know what to do." And we've always in our family also said hooty hoo, when we're out and about, and trying to get one of our, get the attention of somebody else. So anyway, it was just a fun book to write.
Cool. You mentioned you've had great reviews so far from teachers and families who've read it and kids who've read it. What about the grandkids?
Oh, the grandkids absolutely love it. I've already been to their schools, and we purchased them a nice little sweatshirt with the character on the front. They love that. I actually had some dolls made of Flu Flocky Doo, mainly just for the grandkids. They love that, So that actually is the proof's in the pudding, right? If they like it, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, very, very cool. I'm curious, when we picture folks in our military, we think strong, brave. We don't typically think picture book authors. Was it a challenge to kind of go from that, that role of being a protector of a nation to being a fun, silly picture book author?
Well, so Jed, you're exactly right. I mean, I'm, 60 years old, again, proud husband of 40 years, proud father of 2, proud grandfather of 4. I don't exactly fit the mold, I don't think, the mold of a children's picture book author, right? It's like, what? Who, me, right? I mean, it's kind of harkens back to, you'll remember this, I'm sure, back when Admiral Stockdale was running as the vice presidential candidate to Ross Perot, and nobody knew who he was. And he stands on the stage in the debate and he goes, "Who am I? Why am I here?" So I feel a bit like that as well. And so in terms of a challenge, it was absolutely a challenge. Something I significantly underestimated, Jed, was how challenging it is to tell a story in 600 words, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is the typical length of a picture book. Because people who know me as a Gillespie the best, they know that verbosity is my middle name, right? And so for me to be succinct, especially in condense a story down to 600 words, was extremely challenging. I will tell you that I bet I've got 125 to 150 separate versions of a manuscript. And you and your listeners may say, what? Well, it's A, because it's challenging. And then 2, this manuscript rhymes. And and I did not start out intending to write a rhyming children's picture book. It fell into that pattern. It fell into that beat. Like I said, what should I do? Thought floof like you do, hooty hoo. I know what to do. And we just couldn't get out of it. So I decided to embrace it. Well, if you're going to write a rhyming picture book, then to get all the beat, the meter and everything else right, that was hard. And so if I even changed one word in the manuscript on today from yesterday's manuscript, it became a new version. And that proved to be extremely valuable because as I went through the process, words would come out, words would go in. As I'm nearing the finish line of the book, there were a couple of scenes where I said, man, something's just not right. And I was able to go back to manuscript 37 and find a couple of words that were in then, but had come out for whatever reason, and I put them back in and it made it work. So that's just probably one little lesson, by the way, for any of your listeners out there who are thinking about embarking down this path of writing a children's picture book. Then I would just say, save every single version that you have because something in the past certainly could work its way back into the manuscript as you get closer to the finish line.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious. We've had a lot of ex-military personnel come on the show talking about the books that they've written. We recently had a retired Navy captain, I think he was a captain, talking, and he created a picture book that kind of shares some of the lessons that he learned in the military with kids, some of those values, early is on time is late, that kind of thing. Were there any of the disciplines that you developed in the military that kind of helped the process of creating the book?
Well, so in this case, in the military, one thing you quickly learn is it's better to ask forgiveness than it is to ask for permission, right? And so, because they want you to lean forward in the straps. And so, believe it or not, that's why in this particular book, we wanted Floo-Flop-You-Do to not only have a zest for life, but to have fun and to take a risk. And at the very end, we had, when Floo-Flop-You-Do finally recovers the squirrel, at first the mom in the story, at first I had written the manuscript at the very end, kind of where Mommy Do, Floo, why did you bring this squirrel? Mommy sternly asked. And my wife said, no. We have to give this a soft landing at the end, to encourage kids to, in a way, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Go out there and have fun, and develop that trait within you. But at the same time, once you have made a misstep, in this case, at the end, Floo, understands that taking a squirrel to the grocery store was probably not the best move, right? But nevertheless, so that would be the one thing from a military aspect that I think I tried to, relate here in the story.
Yeah, that is a wonderful lesson and attitude, outlook on life. I didn't serve in the military, but it's certainly how I live my life, and got me in trouble sometimes, but that's okay. That's
right.
Because in the end, things worked out the way they should be. I wasn't doing it the way the higher ups wanted me to do it, but I got to the end and it worked, and it wouldn't have worked any other way. So
that's right. You're exactly right.
I'm curious, now that Flu Flocky Doo to the Rescue is out there, are we going to have a Flu Flocky Doo too?
So I think we probably will. I'll admit from the get-go that when we started down this path, our measure of success was simply to get it done for our grandkids. We talked about that. And if that meant this book was only destined for the family heirloom shelf, then that was okay with us. But we got it done. And then family and friends who are going to tell you, that it's good anyway, right? Started saying, man, this is a good little book. You need to get this in the hands of other young readers and other parents. And then I thought, well, let's try to get some validation of that. So I submitted for some trade reviews. And Kirkus, for example, where they're known for giving you an honest review. It may not be good. It could be bad, whatever, and somewhere in between. Well, all of a sudden, Kirkus and other trade reviews gave this thing like, wow, this is a great little book. Get a nice review. And then I thought, well, let's see now if the awards community really think of this. I submitted, and I just self-published this in March, so it's only been 3 months out there. Not even quite that. Well, it's already picked up almost 15 awards.
Wow.
And so in all of the trade reviews, and the more it's getting in the hands of parents and everything, they're asking the same question you did. Is there going to be a sequel? And in fact, I even, I took a book marketing class, right? And the very first thing she told myself in this workshop that I was a part of, book number 3 sells book number 1. And so we do that. And so you put all that in a mixing bowl, and I think, we're already thinking about book number 2 and book number 3. But Jed, I want to say why another reason why I think we want to do book 2 and book 3. And that is because we have got, and in fact, I want to give props to one of your former, podcast guest just a few months ago, Alex Friedrichs. I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly. He wrote the book Sweet Rescue. He's a 3rd grade teacher. And I really enjoyed listening to y'all's conversation. And one of the things he talked about is exactly what I have talked about as well, and the importance. And that is that we have got to instill an appetite in young kids for wanting to read. And so we wanted to write this book, which we did, making it a fun thing to be read by parents, but also to learn how to read, learn how to read by a young child, right? And that's because, as Alex artfully talked about, is when that kid reaches 3rd grade, they begin that transition from learning how to read to reading to learn. And that's because, of course, after 3rd grade, 80 to 85% of the content that a child learns and consumes is through the act of reading. And so if our kids think about this. So there's only 35 to 40% of our children, when they exit 3rd grade, are reading at grade level. So that's 60 to 65% of our children who are not reading at grade level. And so how do we fix that, or at least in part? Well, we want to write. This book does that. I know Sweet Rescue does that. Again, props to Alex Friedrichs. And that is, write a book that is fun to learn how to read. We want a child to come back and want to read it time and time again. And so to answer your question as well, that's partly why we want to write maybe book number 2, maybe book number 3, is because we want to produce a series that children are going to enjoy, they find fun, and something that will encourage them to come back, pick it up time and time again, and to read it. So that's doing our little part of trying to encourage kids, to develop reading as a fun habit, which will pay off down the road.
Absolutely. It is. I think it's one of the most important things we have to face as a nation, as a society. And it's not just here in the United States. The number of kids who aren't reading on grade level around the world has really declined. And we have some amazing guests coming up in the next couple of months that are going to be talking about that, and also about the best way to combat that is for us as parents, as grandparents, to sit down and read with our kids for fun every day, 15, 20 minutes a day. Makes such a difference, and it's such a benefit in so many ways. So I'm really happy that you've made this your mission. This is the new mission for you.
That's right. That's exactly right. And it is a fun mission at that. And you were exactly right in that parents need to understand, how important it is to do exactly what you just said. Sit down. It doesn't have to be for a long time at night. It can be for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, a little less some nights, a little more some nights, But just instilling, get them away from screen time and get their nose in books, right? We got to do more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. We should tell everybody where they can go to learn more about Flu Flocky Doo to the Rescue, and allow them to be the first to learn when Flu Flocky Doo 2 comes out.
Thank you very much. So we do have a website. I've developed a website, and believe it or not, the URL, fluflockydoo.com, was not taken. Imagine that. And so, FLOO and FLOCKY and DOO, fluflockydoo.com, got the website. That's where they can go, and they can, purchase it, either the book if they are interested in doing that, on Amazon. I'm actually going to pretty soon. I've got my own inventory of books. I'm pretty soon going to do another option on the website where if someone would like to purchase a signed copy from me, then they can do so through the website, and I'll sign it to whoever they would like, and then I'll mail them, one or more books, whatever they like. But also on the homepage of our website, we've got a Flu Flocky Doo sing-along video, which kids are also enjoying. I had a song made, and it follows the entire the storyline of the book, and it's all set, and that's on the homepage as well. And kids are loving watching that video. It's got some very simple animation to it, but it's a very catchy tune, and it's starting to take off with kids as well. So
awesome! Are we gonna offer to sing the song for us here, David, or we're gonna leave it to the recording?
We'll leave it to the recording. I don't know that you want me singing the song, so it is a cute song.
I've had a great time speaking to the author of Flu Flocky Doo to the Rescue. Our guest has been David Gillespie. Hey, David, thanks so much. We look forward to you coming back to celebrate the next book.
Jed, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Hey, we hope you've enjoyed this episode of Reading with Your Kids. You'll join us for the next exciting episode of the show. If this episode made you smile, if this episode made you think, please consider sharing a link to the show with someone you love. Please consider sharing a link to the show with anyone you knew or anyone you know who loved watching Blue's Clues with their kids. Leave a 5-star review and, of course, subscribe to the show wherever you find your favorite shows. We'd also love for you to connect with us on social media, facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, @readingwithyourkids, on Instagram, @JedleyMagic, on X, our YouTube channel, youtube.com/readingwithyourkids, and our website is readingwithyourkids.com. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful, starting with our guest, Angela Santomero. Please be sure to check out Princess Penelope's Purse of Preposterous Things. Also want to thank David Gillespie. Please be sure to check out Flu Flocky Doo to the Rescue. I want to thank my incredible team, Ella Badier, Daylene Rose Advina Lopez, Chris Doherty. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the love and support and joy she brings to my life. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you so much for taking the time to make the world a better, more caring, more empathetic place And you do that every single time you spend some cuddle time with your kids, reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next episode of Reading with Your Kids.
Some say being strong means lifting big things, but we know the bravest hearts do little things that mean everything. Let's go! Woke up this morning, sunshine in my eyes. Heard the world whisper, go be kind and rise. I packed my smile and my favorite shoes, gonna change the world with my thank yous. Held the door, helped a friend pick up her books. Shared my snack, got some grateful looks. Didn't take much, but I